guess what we're playing today? That's right, Minesweeper. Well, damn it. I guess we're playing Cyberpunk then. If you've been keeping up with this game, you know that it's barely... No, I don't even want to say barely. It's absolutely unplayable on what is now last-gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. The generation that CDPR has repeatedly over the years assured us this game is being developed for. But that's not all. What you're seeing right now is how the game runs on the recommended graphics card for 1080p high settings. These specs came out 20 days before the game launched. This, according to CDPR, is recommended performance. Someone tested this and thought, yup. You know what? I've spent so much time picking and choosing the best cherry-picked shots from the trailers to use in my videos, but I just don't give a fuck anymore. So here, enjoy the game how it actually looks and how it runs on recommended hardware for the rest of this video. Even on medium settings where the game hovers at around 30 FPS, the LOD pop-in on NPCs and cars is just unbearable to look at, and the game just looks odd. I don't even know how to explain the technical stuff, it just looks bad. And mind you, there's a lot of big dense games that look good on this card. The high preset that you'll be seeing for the rest of this video, which just to remind you again is the recommended one for this card, is just a whole other level of unbearable. Oh, and people like to use the argument, especially for consoles, did you really expect this game to run on 7-year-old hardware? And the answer to that is no. I'm just a dumb idiot. I expect people who make the game to know better than me, so when they say they recommend a certain card or sell the game on certain consoles, I believe the game will work on that card or those consoles. And I'm not even talking about the bugs here, this is strictly performance. Before you ask, I also have the latest drivers and my other specs are way better, so there's no bottlenecking going on here. It's just the card they told us would handle the game not being able to handle the game. But let's not fool ourselves, no one on the testing team could ever actually approve this card as the recommended one. So why is it recommended? Well, for the same reason CDPR didn't allow reviewers to show their own gameplay in their pre-launch reviews, and for the reasons they didn't hand out a single console review code. They just didn't want you to know that the game runs like shit on this hardware, which they absolutely knew, of course. They had 8 million pre-orders, so their options were to either lose sales from a big portion of those people who own consoles and mid-range PCs, or simply lie. Lie to literally millions of people. I mean, the GTX 1060 is still the most used card on the market, and considering they've been confirming that Cyberpunk was not a next-gen title since 2018, it wouldn't make sense from a financial perspective to just abandon that entire market. Plus, they already couldn't back out of a PS4/Xbox One release, so they had to make a game that should realistically not work on those platforms, and I get that. I understand the tough situation they were in, and I understand that the game evolved into a next-gen title over the 8 years since it's been conceived. I mean, these guys were getting death threats for the third delay. You'd think they could have been like, hey guys, so we actually won't be releasing on consoles. So yes, they were in a pickle. But my problem is with the lack of transparency. The purpose of not showing console gameplay or not putting FPS in the system requirements is to sell you a product that they know will not meet your expectations. Plain and simple, no reason to find other words to say it or beat around the bush. This is all coming from a company that prides itself in its transparency and communication. Now, I've had a problem with the game's marketing and management for a while, but I just want to mention that none of this critique is going towards the devs. I really genuinely believe that a lot of them put their hearts and souls into this game and that they would love for everyone to enjoy it in its full potential. I also think the devs did phenomenal work on the actual substance of the game. The bugs will be patched over time and the game will be considered a masterpiece. I've got nothing but love for the devs, so if you're also frustrated with the deceptive marketing, there's no reason to direct your anger towards them. I also think this doesn't erase a lot of the goodwill that CDPR has built up over the years. Y'all know how big of a fan I am and how excited I was about Cyberpunk, but the channel is called No Cap Gaming, and if I told you CDPR didn't do anything wrong, I would in fact be capping. They've done a lot of good for us as consumers, but this is not one of those situations that needs to be talked about, which it is not talked about enough. And I wonder why. You can obviously tell that I'm a bit salty that Nvidia didn't send me a brand new RTX 3080 like they did to every other channel covering this game. Like, it's crazy how hard it is to find a YouTuber that's not running it on god tier hardware. Yo, just for future reference, if you want me to not talk bad about your game, send me like a chair or a graphics card. I mean, I'm not rolling in YouTube cash yet, so that stuff is more than enough to shut me up. And yes, a lot of people are running this game with no problems other than the bugs, and you might be one of them, but one look at any Cyberpunk community is enough to show you that you're in the minority. I'm not kidding, just have a quick scroll through the subreddit and you'll see that an overwhelming amount of people is struggling with this game. I feel sorry for console players who don't even have the option to upgrade like a certain part. They just straight up have to buy a new console if they want to play this game. And not to mention how they literally sold a Cyberpunk themed Xbox One X, which now can't even run the game properly. So I think my best decision right now is to just not play the game until I get a better card. Turns out my entire country is out of any RTX 20 series cards right now, so I don't know if that will be in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I was debating on upgrading my rig before the game launched, but their recommended specs gave me reassurance that I would be able to run this game on high settings, if not at 60 FPS, then at least at a stable FPS. And why would I blow half a grand on something if I don't need to, right? This is why I feel lied to, and this is why the incredible rush I had in me to play Cyberpunk and make Cyberpunk content is now just kinda gone. The whole deceitful marketing thing spoiled my excitement, and honestly, I don't really feel like I'm missing out. The game is just not there yet. It's obviously very unfinished. I've waited too long for this game to experience it in the state that it's currently in, and there's no reason why I should subject any of you to any more of this sub 30 FPS horror footage than what you've seen in this video. I'll have a physical edition unboxing coming soon, but the game can wait and hopefully be better by the time I'm able to play it. If you were thinking about how you would love to throw some money my way, I now have memberships open where I'd like to do exclusive videos, so click the join button and watch the video where I explain all the perks. Thank you.